All right, so I don't have an actual like intro, like hey, what's up, everybody, kind of thing yet, because this is the first, hopefully not last video of a YouTube channel for me. So that being said, this is not like an option one thing. It's not sponsored. There is a very good chance that I'm going to swear way more than is necessary. So keep that in mind that this is not part of option one, even though I probably will do quite a bit of them. Here, I may use some of my clients, our members, however you want to put that, for some of these videos to demonstrate some stuff, or maybe even talk about some things that I don't know very well that maybe some of you or them or they, whatever, do. So that being said, I figured for the first one, we may as well start where your warm-up or your workout should start, with a warm-up. So today I have a snatch workout that has a shitload of snatching and a shitload of front squatting. Huge numbers of reps, not necessarily that much weight, but it's going to be fairly painful and fairly long. So I want to make sure that I get a thorough warm-up, even though I should every time, but I honestly don't always get a super thorough warm-up. So the only thing that I've done this morning is wake up, sit down, and do nothing, which is atypical. I usually will do some air squats, some push-ups, move around a little bit, do some arm circles. The only warm-up I've had is an energy drink, and I taped my thumbs, which I typically do after my warm-up, but it would just add time to the video and no relevant information whatsoever. So firstly, for you guys out there with the Olympic lifts or who power lift and wear like weightlifting shoes, I do not do my general warm-up with them. I want my ankles to have to go through their full ranges of motion, and really the purpose of wearing the Olympic shoes is that it makes it easier for your ankles to go into flexion on the squats. That's really their big purpose. So firstly, I try to start with stuff that is like energetically cheap. So typically I just start by swinging my arms in circles to the inside. I don't really count what I'm doing particularly. Maybe I'm gonna go to 20 or so. Maybe I'll count these after the video and put a little annotation and we can count some stuff. And I have also never measured how long a typical long warm-up like this for me is, so maybe we're talking 10 minutes. So I really just do these until my arms start to feel warm, which they do, and then I'll go in the other direction. So the reason I like to start with this easy stuff is because, one, it doesn't really take any mobilization to do. So if my hips are tight, which they are always tight, or my back is sore, which it is always sore, this doesn't affect those things, and increased blood flow anywhere equals increased blood flow everywhere, because my heart still has to push it around the entire system. So just doing these arm circles will still help me to sort of passively warm up my legs a little bit. So now that I've gone through these, I'll go on to my elbows. My elbows are always shitty. If you do a lot of pressing, bench, overhead, if you're a bodybuilder and you're doing lots of curls, all that stuff's gonna light your elbows up. Anyone that knows me, I'm sure we've talked about it, my elbows are super hypermobile or double jointed. And I spend all my time with stuff over my head and they just hurt. That's probably good there. We go to the other side. So again, not counting anything, just going through it. The more muscular you are, not necessarily bigger, but if you're small and just really dense, it's gonna take you longer to warm up. You have more stuff that needs to be addressed or activated or mobilized or whatever. Now I'll just kind of loosen my shoulders up with a little bit of very not static stretching. Anyway, you just have more stuff. So if you're, say you're a female and you're 5 feet tall, 120 pounds, but you back squat 225 or something, it's gonna take you longer to warm up than your equivalent size female who's never touched a barbell in her life, right? And if you're just huge, it's also gonna take you longer. So now, I've got a band now. I've done my sort of passive, just whipping my arms around stuff. Now I like to just do a little bit of stuff to kind of get my traps, my rear delts, my grip a little bit, my forearms, my biceps. Just get that stuff going. Just doing really easy stuff. I usually use a red or a blue band because, again, they're easy. I have a long sleeve on. It's pretty hot in here, but I want that. I want to get a little sweat going. for not a lot of energy, do some Cubans, get that rotation warmed up. I want to be sweaty by the time I'm done, and I'm getting pretty uncomfortable here, so that's good. Oh, all right. Now I'm going to start on my legs. So I start, and a lot of people that work with me, I have do these same things. I take a big step, and just touch the ground by my toes, come upright, take another one. I'll only do a few of these on each side. My hamstrings usually aren't that bad. It's my hips that are bad, and that's what I will probably spend the most time addressing. When I'm doing these, just trying to keep the knees locked, trying to not do this as I come down. Just stand fairly, fairly organized. I'm probably rounding a little bit, no big deal. Even getting a little bit winded, which is awesome. So now, just some leg swings, again, not counting. Taking them a little easy at first, because I am tight, but it's getting better already. And then we'll just go back and forth a bit. Try to get my arms moving, just trying to stay moving. Maybe 10 minutes. Get a lot of people, especially like in the group that we do back here, a lot of people ask me about warm-up stuff. And honestly, and I'm sure anyway, that people get annoyed with it, but my answer is usually like, figure it out. You know what warming up means, you gotta move around. So, I usually have people row a little bit, which I'll do in a minute. Get on the Aerodyne bike a little bit. Do those walk and toe touches. But hopefully, the longer they spend doing it, they start realizing that if they're nice and thorough with their warm-up, their workouts seem to go all the better. So now this will be the last part before I start warming up with the barbell. This will probably end on my first working set of the snatch. So once I get on here, I leave it on 10 because I don't really care about like the most efficient rowing or anything. I don't even do 500 meters. It's probably like, I don't know, 200 or 300 meters, and some of it I'll do without my legs, just to get my spine warmed up, get my rear obliques warmed up, to get my abs going. You see, I do very little like stretching stuff. I guess the swings are a little bit of a stretch, and those walking toe touches stretch my hamstrings a little bit. But it's not like I'm doing, like trying to get in the splits or doing friggin' yoga before I start, because that's not what we're doing. We're gonna lift weights. So just stretching out a little bit's fine, especially if you're super immobile. But that'll be its own video. Yeah, about 200 meters. Good enough. I'm a little sweaty. Heart rate's definitely up a little bit. Now we're gonna go with the barbell. But whatever. We're warming up to do, especially if we're talking Olympic lifting, incredibly fast, dynamic exercises. Whether they're heavy or light, it doesn't really make any difference. They're really hard. They're really complicated. They require, by the way, my beautiful wife Marianne is on the camera. If you see her, say hello. They're really complicated. They're really fast. They require a lot of different stuff. You gotta be strong, gotta be fast, gotta be flexible. So we gotta try to sort of express all of that stuff with our warm-up. Now, I'm not like an expert. I definitely don't know more than anybody. And none of this stuff is like an original thought, right? I'm not the one that came up with warming up. I'm not the one that decided that warming up with stretching is dumb for lots of reasons, but that's research scientist stuff, really. That's not who I am. It's probably not who any of you are either. And almost certainly, if you're watching this, or you end up watching this, or hopefully what will be consecutive videos, is that we're all somewhere between brand new and the best. And I'm definitely not the best, or even just like very good. I just like training. I like working hard. And if having a thorough warm-up, now the lifters are on, makes that better, then that's what I'm gonna do. So now that we're onto the bar, this is gonna start to get very specific. So I just went through a very general warm-up, get a little bit of a sweat, a little bit of heart rate, arms, legs, some back, a little bit of, you know, blood flow stuff, like especially the rowing. Now we're gonna start working on what's going to get me into the bottom of the squat with the bar here as accurately and as quickly as possible. So firstly is gonna be some ankle flexion stuff. So, excuse me, this may be a little bit beyond what you can do. And if you don't snatch, or you don't do the Olympic lifts at all, I should say, this part of it won't be for you. And at this point, say you were, you know, deadlifting, you would be having the bar with 25s or 45s or whatever on it to begin your first reps. So I like to start with just a little bit of ankle flexion stuff. I've got the bar on my knees and I'm just wiggling back and forth pretty gently. I might roll out my quads a little bit just to help my knees loosen up. My knees do give me some trouble. So I don't know, I'll probably only spend like 40 seconds or something doing this. It kind of hurts. But I kind of want it to hurt because that's just telling me that they're tight. Next is I'm going to be warming up my hip depth. This is definitely going to put me in a position that's not a real squat, but it will make getting this depth dynamically underneath the bar, especially with load, feel a lot better. So I just catch it right in my hip crease, squat down to the bottom. Give my voice change, it's actually pretty tough. Same thing, I'm just wiggling back and forth, touching the bar to the ground, make sure I'm getting as far as I can go. I'll sit back a little bit, stretch my back out, get a little bit more of that hip flexion stuff going on, gets my ankles going. My quads are already burning like crazy from being down here so long with the bar. Oh. Now a little bit of chalk to protect my hands. I'm gonna do a little bit of open bar snatching, try to move fast, try to be accurate. Need some more chalk. Get my hands going, because anyone that spends a lot of time on the barbell or doing bodybuilding even, just your hands get ruined. They need the attention just like the rest of your body does. It's easy to take the small things inside your workout for granted. But if you care and you really want to get better, that's what you have to do. So now on snatch, I suck at extending my hips. So when I make contact, I tend to be still back here and then try to pull the bar and extend. So I like to start just from the hang, going nice and gentle into contact, just doing little muscle snatches, up onto my toes, really connect to the bar, make sure I'm getting my hips through. Then I'll start squatting a little bit. Bring it down, do some SATs press. But nothing complicated, nothing crazy. Now I'll start getting a little bit of this position stuff in. Same thing, just doing some muscles. Once I've done a couple more of these, I'm going to relax for just a second. Then I'm going to start jumping underneath the bar, and that'll probably end it. I think this has probably gone on plenty long enough. Get a little bit of sweat dripping, so I'm just right on the body temperature part. I haven't really rested long enough to let my heart rate go down, which is really good. So I'm going to start jumping under the bar in a second. And that's going to kind of end my unweighted warm-up. And then after that, it'll be onto the weights. And one thing that I really want to put on this video a lot is my just training footage. I work out all the time by myself, almost always anyway, and it would be really nice to be able to share it and get some criticism and get some feedback and maybe find some people who are better than me at this to not help me necessarily, but I just want to start conversations. And I really, really, really hope that people of all levels and people of all modalities, I really want us to get together and make each other better. So this will be where I start jumping under the bar, trying to start increasing speed. That's the last piece of this warm-up. So from start, just starting to work on getting underneath, really trying to carry that hip extension that I was just working on warming up into my lifts. Definitely can't go full speed against the bar, but I can get going fast. So I'm gonna start putting weight on. I'm gonna say that's it for this one. Warm up thorough, leave comments. I don't care if you put a thumbs up or whatever. I probably should care, but I honestly don't yet. Leave comments, ask questions, criticize me, do all of the things that you're supposed to do in a conversation. That's what I want. Thank you, and I'll see you again.